It's been an action-packed year in the 2011 Asia Pacific Rally Championship, with victory for some, drama and frustration for others. As the teams gather in Hokkaido, Japan for the fifth and penultimate round of the 2011 APRC, Proton's Chris Atkinson has a clear lead in the driver's title, with 109 points from victories in Malaysia, New Caledonia and the last round in New Zealand.
It's one of the most important weekends of our year, obviously, to consolidate the championship. We need to get a good result. We've got Alistair who's going to be pushing hard, but the roads are some of the trickiest of the year, some of the loosest and some of the biggest rocks we've seen around as well, so it's not going to be easy.
Teammate Alistair McRae is one of those drivers who've suffered all kinds of dramas throughout the year. But somehow the wily Scott and co-driver Bill Hayes have kept their Proton in the events. And second place in the points is due to their determination to get to the finish in any circumstances. McRae, though, ends up 23 points behind Atkinson.
We've got to get a win here, that's the bottom line. If we could do that, then, there's a possibility. But, Chris he's been going very well this year. He is that bit ahead, so we'll see what happens. Definitely not easy roads, and I know last year the Group N cars worked very quick here, just with the extremely long straights and the high speeds. And some of them are quite loose, where the turbo engine's probably slightly better. But, the car's definitely improving all the time. It's shown its pace this year.
Indian driver Gaurav Gill was an early leader in the driver's title, but after a disastrous run in New Zealand, where the MRF driver crashed, not once but twice, he slipped down the order to third place, 46 points behind Atkinson.
You're kidding me.
Mitsubishi has always been strong in Hokkaido, the turbocharged Lancer thriving on the high-speed roads. And now the MRF team has upgraded Gill's car to R4 spec.
Yeah, of course, I do really enjoy this event. It's been good for us last year. And as you said, the car does go quite well here. It's going to be fast, and because it's twisty and a lot of mountain and it's quite rough, I think we might be able to match the Super 2000 Protons. We might be able to. I think apart from that, we're obviously running the new car, so it's we still haven't seen the full potential of the car yet, and it's the new R4, and we've got about 70% of the bits on the car. We couldn't really do the other 30% because we ran out of time.
Pertamina Cusco driver Rifat Sungkar is fourth in the series after 4 rounds, and still in with a mathematical chance of taking the championship. But the Indonesian definitely made things difficult for himself with a spectacular rollover and retirement in New Zealand.
Oh my God.
The championship's still a possibility, but you've really got to win, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I will work really hard. The point difference is quite a lot, but it still have a chance because the new system applies more points in each round, and we still look at, there is a chance to score a big point.
2011 Rally Hokkaido is the 10th anniversary of the event. And one man who's competed every year is MRF Mitsubishi driver Katsu Taguchi.
I have done maybe 10 times in the Rally Hokkaido, so I'm very happy to be here.
What is the trick here? What to going fast?
Actually, it's this year the more gravel on the top, so I think it need to be slippery than is a couple of the years. So I think we must careful, especially the first time through the road.
Yes. And the second and third time through, of course, it gets rougher, doesn't it?
Yeah, the second time is the best condition for the second loop. So third time we're going to be very rough. So we have to change suspension setup.
Well, look, good luck on your 10th event, and let's hope to see you on top of the podium.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thursday's shakedown gives all the Asia Pacific teams an opportunity to test their cars and get a feel for the event. Japan is a round of the APRC Asia Cup, and one of its leading contenders is Yuya Sumiyama in a Cusco-prepared Mitsubishi Evo 10. On his home event, the young Japanese driver is always extremely fast, and so he's expected to be one of the front runners. Malaysian rally champion Mohamed Rafiq is doing the 2011 Asia Cup as his team builds to a full campaign in 2012.
Right 3, long to keep in.
Driving an MRU Motorsport Subaru, he's quickly on the pace.
Right 4.
Also joining the MRU team for Hokkaido is Brian Green. While the Kiwi hasn't rallied in Japan since 2007, Green has been a consistent finisher throughout the season and is sitting in 6th place on the drivers' points table. A new Mitsubishi Evo 9 for Tomohide Hasegawa should see the Japanese driver setting some good times as he aims to finish on the leaderboard in the Asia Cup. A rally show prior to the start sees huge numbers of fans out autograph hunting. And with the large field of cars also on display, it's no wonder there's a big crowd. Over the start ramp go 3 of Proton's new 1.6-litre Satrias. Malaysian legend Karamjit Singh, who leads the points in the APRC two-wheel drive cup, is followed by Japanese driver Akira Bamba, leader of the Junior Cup. The spectators cheer on the youngest competitor in the event, 18-year-old Michael Young from New Zealand, driving a brand new Satria 1.6 built by the Cusco Proton team. From the ceremonial start, the competitors head straight into stage 1, a short blast at night around a 1.2 kilometre super special. Quickest of the APRC competitors is Chris Atkinson in an S2000 Proton, with Gaurav Gill just 0.2 of a second slower in the R4 spec Mitsubishi.
52 minus right.
Sungkar is third quickest in the Pertamina Cusco Mitsubishi. It's an early start the next morning as the competitors line up for 3 stages, each run 3 times over a mixture of surfaces. It all starts with a fast public road stage called a Shoro Long, and it's Taguchi who's first away. Next up is Atkinson, who loves fast flowing roads, and it shows in the times. He's a full 10 seconds quicker than next fastest, McRae. But then on the next test, the 28-kilometre Kaniwa stage, it's McRae who turns the tables, winning by nearly 15 seconds to move into the lead, 3.4 seconds ahead of Atkinson. At the end of the stage, the MRF Mitsubishis have dropped nearly 30 seconds behind the Protons. While they're the quickest in a straight line, neither Taguchi nor Gill is able to keep up with the Protons in the tight, twisty sections.
800 care bump.
The battle for two-wheel drive honours is intense, with the fast-flowing roads ideally suited to the lower-powered Proton Satrias. Local star Akira Bamba setting the initial pace.
4:70.
At the end of stage 2, Bamba is 6 seconds in front of his main rival, Karamjit Singh.
4 right plus.
Enjoying his first experience of international rallying is Young, third in class and just 5 seconds behind Singh. The pace and agility of the 1600cc Proton allows Young to catch and pass some of the slower four-wheel drive competitors.
5 left.
Already in trouble are some of the Asia Cup drivers. Hasegawa grinding to a halt with gearbox problems on stage 2. Rafiq has gearbox problems too in his MRU Subaru and is having to hold it in gear. It costs the Malaysian a lot of time and he drops to the back of the field.
Left 4 plus. Right 5.
As always, the Rikubetsu spectator stage, while only 4.6 kilometres long, is a real test for the drivers, with some spectacular jumps and a mixture of slippery surfaces. Leader McRae wins the stage by 1 second to increase his lead on teammate Atkinson to 4.5 seconds. He comes into the final control happy with his morning.
Yeah, it's been good. We were a bit too slow and too safe in the first stage. After that, we've been pushing hard and the car's working really well, so I'm all happy.
Graf's saying it's quite slippery out there. You finding that?
Yeah, very, very slippy. You've got to try and drive the car in the line. As soon as you're off the line, it's extremely slippy, so, but, yeah, no problem, good.
Despite appearances, Atkinson eases off in some of the rough sections, but not enough to allow the MRF Mitsubishis to close in.
Left and tightens 5 very long, opens, 200, middle flat crest.
Gill, as always, is pushing to the maximum, and he's happy with his new Mitsubishi. Nevertheless, after 5 stages, he's still 36 seconds behind leader McRae.
40. 5 minus left over crest into 3 right, tightens 2.
Teammate Taguchi has not had the confidence to push because of severe understeer, and both MRF cars head to service to make setup changes. Sumiyama is next of the APRC drivers, third fastest over the Rikubetsu stage, but already 1 minute behind the leading Protons. Sumiyama's Cusco Puramina teammate Sunka is over 2 minutes off the pace, struggling to come to grips with the very fast but narrow Hokkaido roads.
200.
Having not driven in this rally for several years, Green has used this morning to settle into the pace and is 10th of the APRC competitors.
6 right, 80.
After a great result in the Malaysian round, Asia Cup competitor Aki Hatano is hoping to do well on his home event. But unfortunately, he has a big crash shortly after this and retires. As teammates McRae and Atkinson battle it out for four-wheel drive honours, it's a similar fight in the two-wheel drive class between Singh and Bamba.
5 right short and 4 left plus.
After 4 stages, Singh holds a very slender 7/10 of a second lead, even though he has brake issues. On the second run through stage 6, Ashuro Long, Atkinson puts the hammer down and takes back the lead. The Australian is 8 seconds faster than teammate McRae and so leads by 3.2 seconds.
9 left plus long, 120. Late mid, 8 left opens, then crest brake 40, late 6 left long.
His hold on the top spot is made easier on the 28-kilometre Kaniwa test when McRae has a puncture. There's no choice but to stop and change the wheel.
Medium minus. Stop. Yeah, 150, flat bucks, 350. Keep going down the 350.
2.5 minutes are lost and McRae falls from 2nd to 5th. Sumiyama catches McRae just after he's changed the wheel. And so begins a wild ride as the Japanese driver chases the Proton through the remainder of the stage. It takes some bravery and utter faith in your pace notes to maintain this sort of pace through the blinding dust. Changes made to the MRF Mitsubishis at service have obviously helped their speed. Through Kaniwa, Gill is just 1.8 seconds slower than Atkinson, while Taguchi is another 7/10 of a second behind.
5 minus left, brake 70, don't cut, 3 right tightens.
Catching Atkinson is another matter though. The Australian increases the lead margin further with a fast time through Rikubetsu.
15, left to middle crest.
Arriving at finish control with a 44-second lead after 7 stages. Green's going well in the MRU Subaru. Unlike team owner Rafiq, who has continued to have gearbox issues throughout the day and is last of the APRC competitors. Amazingly though, after all of his problems, the Asia Cup contender wins the return to the Alba Heroes Super Special.
Left 3 long keep in.
I had a problem with my rear drive shaft, which was faulty, and my gearbox, so they're actually sorting out the linkages and so on. So I hope that's all sorted and I'll have a smooth drive throughout the rally. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
In the midfield, there's been a good battle going on between the event's APRC wildcards. Local drivers given the opportunity to compete in their home event against the international APRC drivers. The wildcards are led by Katsu Taguchi's father, 63-year-old Seiichiro Taguchi. He's 6th overall, and his son Katsu is a surprise 1st overall, because in the top 5, everything changes in the last set of stages. Atkinson keeps charging and extends his lead on SS8 Ashoro to a handy 50 seconds. But without warning, near the end of Kaniwa 3, smoke starts coming out of the engine bay, and Atkinson and Stefan Prevost's event is over. The championship leader is bitterly disappointed as he reflects on another retirement from the lead and what the implications are for the APRC title fight.
We've had a mechanical problem and the car stopped. Looks like the engine, so nothing we can do.
With Atkinson's demise, everyone shuffles up a place. Sunkar moves to 5th spot, a little disappointed with his pace, but happy that on each of the 3 passes through the stages, he and co-driver Scott Beckwith have gone faster.
Into easy 5 left, on bump, and caution 5 right, into 5 minus left.
In fact, the Pertamina driver sets the fastest time on the final stage of the day, half a second quicker than the next quickest, Taguchi.
And 6 right, opens and tightens on brow.
Sumiyama is 4th and could have been even further up the order if not for this high speed off in stage 9. A brush with the bush though doesn't dent his confidence for tomorrow.
Tomorrow section, very good. Yeah.
So you're going to push hard tomorrow?
Yeah, push hard. Yeah.
By the end of the day, McRae has recovered from 5th to 3rd, but still well behind the MRF cars.
It's obviously good to be here. I think we're 3rd in the points for the APRC, which is good. Disappointing to lose the time with the puncture, because if it wasn't for that, it would have been probably a minute and 20 up on Katsu. But then saying the same thing, we're here and Chris is not, so good to be here.
Really throws open the championship a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, there's only 65 Ks tomorrow, but there's still a lot can happen. We obviously, the main thing now is to get round, get as many points as we can tomorrow. Then, yeah, for sure, if we get round okay, then China's going to be an interesting fight.
The MRF Mitsubishis haven't been on the pace of the Protons, but at the end of the day, they're both in front. Gill has been fastest through the day, until the last 2 forest stages, where he picks up a puncture and then finds he has a bent rear suspension arm. He's forced to ease off in the final stages, allowing teammate Taguchi to claim a 22-second lead.
Crest 5 minus left, 80, medium, bump on crest, 30, 4 right.
Last year's APRC champion is totally surprised to find he's in the top spot.
Yeah, I am surprised because we couldn't, because we are fast on the road, so we couldn't see that all the time. So we finally went coming back to the last SS. So everybody telling me we are the fast with the APRC.
You're changing back to Group N though.
Yeah, actually, I think the Gill's car is a little bit bent at the top arm, so we are just safe using a Group N suspension. Yeah.
Removing Taguchi's R4 spec suspension to give it to his teammate and give him more chance of winning is a major job. And as a result, Taguchi picks up another handicap. The team's late checking into the day's final control and incurs a 30-second time penalty. That drops Taguchi back to second, 8 seconds behind teammate Gill. Day 2 of Rally Hokkaido comprises 65 kilometres, held over 3 stages, each run twice, and finishing with the Obihiro Super Special. The weather is looking exceptional, with a fine sunny day predicted. The first stage, Odafuki, starts just on sunrise, and the battle is intense right away, with Gill fastest and McRae just 0.2 of a second behind. On the next test, Pause Kamui, McRae wins the stage outright in his S2000 Satria, with Sumiyama just 1 second slower in his Group N Mitsubishi. McRae continues to set quick times through the morning and gradually starts to reel in second place Taguchi. By stage 15, a repeat of Pause Kamui, McRae has cut the gap to Taguchi from 35 seconds to just 18. But with just 28 kilometres of high-speed rallying left, it's going to require some amazing driving from McRae to catch Taguchi on his home turf. With his Mitsubishi back to Group N spec, Taguchi, though, is gradually losing time to Gill in the R4 version. By midday service, Gill has extended his lead from 8 to 20 seconds. On the super quick Honabetsu, green Subaru engine cries enough. The Kiwi is forced to park it and becomes a spectator for the rest of the day.
So, Brian, a bit of bad luck here. Yes, unfortunately, the engine's been fuming a little bit during the course of the event, but it was fuming quite bad at the start of the stage, and we could just come down the big long straight there, and it started running on 3 cylinders, and then we had a bit of a fire, so we were just lucky enough to stop at the spectator point here, and there's some extinguishers and put that out. Otherwise, I'm not sure if our extinguishers would have done it or not. But no, it's a sad end to the event, but as we all know, that's motorsport, unfortunately.
Green's teammate Rafiq, though, is fighting his way back up the leaderboard. Yesterday's gearbox problems clearly fixed. Just 11 seconds in front of him is Young in the 1.6 Proton. But unfortunately, the New Zealanders' event comes to an end on the second run through Otafuki. A rear wheel comes off the Proton and shears off the wheel studs. Singh and Bamber are constantly swapping times, with Singh still holding a 35-second advantage. However, there is a big battle going on between these two drivers to be fastest driver of the day in two-wheel drive and take bonus points. As Singh and Bamber take the final stage, the Obihiro Super Special, they're on identical times. And unbelievably, at the end of 65 kilometres of high-speed, tough competition, both Proton drivers still have identical times for the day, 46 minutes 39.5 seconds. So they share the bonus points. With the finish in sight, Sungkar finds the Day 2 roads to his liking and is consistently in the top 5. But with a big gap to catch his teammate, the Indonesian has been concentrating on making sure of a solid finish to secure driver points. Sumiyama sets a blistering pace, usually in the top 2, and really enjoys the fast open roads. The speed on leg 2 is enough to pick up bonus points for second fastest driver of the day. Quickest overall for day 2 though is McRae. While the Proton is often on the rev limiter on the long straights, in the tight stuff the Satria S2000 is uncatchable.
Into a flat right.
McRae's pace takes him to within 8.8 seconds of Taguchi.
Braking flat left minus and care, easy left, tightness to minus in.
Having given up his car's R4 suspension to teammate Gill, Taguchi has found the car very nervous throughout the day, but still has enough speed to keep McRae at bay. Gill drives a controlled day too, just fast enough to ensure he cannot be caught, and to win the final run through Honebetsu. Gill and co-driver Glenn McNeil have every reason to celebrate, as now the APRC driver's title is back within reach. With a 1-2 for MRF, there are big celebrations on the podium. And after the champagne, Gill invites Taguchi to share the top spot with him. But the celebrations for the team are short-lived when officials declare the Mitsubishi's R4 modifications illegal and exclude Gill from the results. Gill's exclusion promotes Taguchi to APRC winner, 8.8 seconds in front of McRae. Sumiyama and Sunkar are next. Singer's ninth and first of the two-wheel drive entrants, with Akira Bamba and co-driver Takahiro Yasui winning the Asia Pacific Junior Cup for 2011. Gill's exclusion has a significant impact on the driver's title points board, and now only McRae or Atkinson can win the championship. Sunkar, Gill and Taguchi are very close in the battle for third. The fight between Proton and Mitsubishi for the manufacturer's title is also tight. China Rally is going to be very interesting.